everybody, welcome along to Match Day Live, where a third straight home game in the space of 8 days for Leicester City, but it's back to championship action. Swansea City are the visitors this evening, and 3 days after the Albrighton-Vardy duo got the Foxes through to the next round of the FA Cup, we've got a dynamic duo of our own in the studio with us this evening. Jerry Taggart will set them up, Matty Fryatt will knock them in. Let's start, shall we, with the team news for this evening. And let's start with the home team, Leicester City, where at the weekend there were 10 changes for that FA Cup game. 9 of that 11, though, drop out tonight as we're back to the League 11. The headlines, really: Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, Harry Winks and Yannick Vestergaard all got a complete rest at the weekend. They all come straight back in, and Patson Daka also is back in for his first appearance since Zambia were knocked out of the Africa Cup of Nations last week. So the 11 is like this: Hermansen will be in goal, Bokvas and Yannick Vestergaard, the central defenders. Ricardo will play at right back, Callum Doyle on the left. Harry Winks will anchor the midfield, Dewsbury-Hall and Dennis Pratt getting the nod in central midfield. McAteer and Mavididi will play wide, and Daka will be through the middle. On the bench, Jakub Salarczyk, who was so impressive at the weekend, takes his place alongside Cody, Vardy, Albrighton, Chowdhury, Cannon, Yunus, Nelson and young Reiki. As for Swansea, they are under new management, under Luke Williams. They do have some injury issues as well to contend with. They made 5 changes of their own for last week's FA Cup hammering, really, down at Bournemouth, being beaten 5-0. They're back pretty much tonight, though, to the side that lost to Southampton the weekend before. They make 1 change from that team. Jamal Lowe is injured, so Jerry Yates, their big summer signing, comes in to replace him. They will line up like this, with Carl Rushworth in goal, a back 3 of Harry Darling, Nathan Wood and Bashir Humphreys on loan from Chelsea. Harrison Ashby and Josh Tyman will be the wing backs. Jay Fulton and Matt Grimes in the middle of midfield, with Jamie Patterson and Liam Cullen supporting Yates through the middle. On the bench for them, Fisher, Pedersen, Cabango, Joe Allen, Charlie Patino, Krukarovic, Norton, Cooper, and their brand new signing, signed yesterday from Grêmio in Brazil, Ronald, who will be making his debut if he comes on this evening. So that's who we'll be watching this evening. Jerry, Matty, what are your first reactions when you see that 11?
Yeah, a couple of big calls are from Enzo Maresca. We were talking after the game on Saturday about who's going to get the nod for tonight's game in that number 8 role. And obviously, I think it was pretty unanimous that everyone thought Yunus might have the edge, but obviously looking at that, he favours Dennis Pratt, which I ain't got a problem with whatsoever. And obviously the other one is, who he's picked up front. I suppose everybody expecting Tom Cannon to, continue to start, because he's been in good form with Patson being away at the Africa Cup of Nations. But no, again, a bit of a curveball, but again, not really an issue with that at all.
That's the bonus with strength in depth, isn't it, I suppose?
It is. I'm still getting over the reference in dynamic. It's been a few years for myself, let alone ever referred to as dynamic.
Well, it's funny because we were just talking about it down in the canteen about, do you still play a bit of football? And I'm like, I can't play football. My knees are shot, my hips are shot. He still does a bit, but yeah, dynamic.
More dynamic than me, trust me. You've not seen my turn of pace. It's not there.
I didn't have any in my pump anyway, so it doesn't let alone now.
What is it? Is it 5 yards up there now? 10?
Probably 15
centimetres.
Were you surprised by any of those big calls that Jerry referenced, the through the middle and in the middle of midfield?
I think there were big calls, obviously on Daka. As Jerry mentioned there, you think Tom Cannon might come back in or go with Vardy, having scored at the weekend. Little bit surprised, but it's also good and healthy to have that competition for places. Callum Doyle comes back in. You'd think probably James Justin as a preferred back 4, back 5, if you count Mads Hermansen within that. So to see him come back in as well, that was a little bit of a surprise. But you look at it and think they'll have more than enough. Obviously contentious whether Yunus might play, might come off the bench, but he might affect it more than what Dennis Pratt might do. And Dennis Pratt's sort of similar in many ways as what Wilfred Ndidi might do. He can run forward a bit more, as Yunus is a bit more creative. But yeah, a little bit surprised, but there's enough quality within there to go and get the job done, which I'd imagine Swansea will make it more difficult than what they did in the last showings. But yeah, few surprises.
I think Dennis Pratt's a bit more, he's got a bit more steel about him than Yunus has. He's a bit more physical with and without the ball, and maybe that might be the edge where obviously Yunus has that creativity. You know, he's silky. We've seen on Saturday in the game where, you know, he just kept regaining possession and, you know, the ball kept getting away from him, getting it back, and he played a couple of lovely passes, but he's gone for a little bit of physicality in there tonight.
It was interesting reading some of the comments that Enzo Maresca gave, I think it was to local radio on Saturday, saying that he knows how much quality Yunus has, but he just wants more. He wants a little bit more from him, just to perform more consistently. I guess maybe that's sort of maybe the difference between him and Dennis Pratt. He's got a little bit more experience around him as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's difficult for him. You can see he's played with enthusiasm. He's trying. That hasn't been questioned, and you can see he's got ability. And then certain times you just try to do too much, but it's always difficult when you're in out the team.
And when you want to impress, don't you?
Yeah,
right?
Initially he came in, he was on the wing. He's not like the other, say, two wingers like Fatawu and Mavididi, where it's just sheer pace. He's manoeuvres it, nimbles it, and then when he's gone inside, he's not like Wilf or Keenan, where they're better probably creating the space and running on. So he's got to find that way between it. And when he has played, he's probably been overlooking for the ball, having lots of touches, as opposed to those effective touches. And even at the weekend, Tom Cannon's ran into bodies and he's sort of not interested in it. It's fallen for him and then bang straight onto it because he's probably not thinking about it. As the times when he's come in, he's probably overdone it a little bit. Just out of, there's nothing wrong in that, but sometimes you can try too hard and sort of the position he plays in, especially as that 10, sometimes you might have to just wait a little bit rather than being over-eager to get involved, which you can't really knock him for wanting to try that much, but sometimes you've got to let the game find you. And I think he's struggled, and obviously different country, the championship as well, and just sort of finding his way. But you saw the quality at the weekend, and hopefully he can change that when he comes on and show his ability again.
Just on the back of that, I think also when he's saying he's wanting more, Enzo, from him, on the flip side of what Matt's been talking about is the defensive side. And I'm not saying Yunus won't run back and get into a good shape.
It's not his natural game, is it?
It's not his natural game, and if you analyse the goal that Ipswich scored late on here a couple of weeks ago, or it wasn't a couple of weeks, but the beginning of last week, he just switched off momentarily for when that ball was slid in across, and for Ipswich to get the equaliser later on. He just switched off for a split second. And Leif Davis was allowed to play that ball inside, and I think that's it. You just cannot switch off, even though you're in a good position. You've got back in a good position. You have to now affect the game defensively, and he just didn't quite do that on the night. Okay, it's late on, but big moments.
Well, Dennis Pratt in for him from the start today. Lots more to come between now and kick-off, though. Here is what we'll be looking at for the rest of the show. Of course, we'll start by looking back at the weekend. The Foxes are through into round 5 of the FA Cup with a goal straight out of 2015. We'll analyse the game against Birmingham, and we'll hear from the man who set up the first, Mark Albrighton, previews tonight's game against Swansea. And of course, we'll hear all about the opposition. Luke Williams is in charge of Swansea. We'll get the inside track from someone who knows the team very well indeed. But before all that, as promised, let's look back at the weekend where Birmingham City were the visitors, a place in round 5 of the FA Cup was the prize at stake, and well, it robbed the years back to about 2015.
Towards Chowdhury, that's a risky ball, it's given away and it's a big early chance. It's for Birmingham City, left-hand side of the penalty area, and a first save from Solarczyk. And perhaps an early wake-up call for Leicester, but they've lost it again, and Birmingham City coming forward again.
As it has gone wrong on a couple of occasions, but they've got away with it.
Oh, it's fantastic work from Birmingham, who are in on goal here, and a great save again from Solarczyk. It's the best chance that Birmingham City have had. It was Jordan James who broke in behind after a fantastic move, but it was Solarczyk down swiftly to his left-hand side. Here's a chance for Birmingham again. Dembele finds Anderson. Another fantastic save from Solarczyk. Again down to his left-hand side. He managed to get to it second time round too to stop any deflections that Leicester City are looking to emerge into. Here's Albrighton now out wide for Leicester City. Sends his ball into the penalty area, and Vardy there with the header. And how about that? After all the chances that Birmingham had in the first half, it's taken 2 minutes of the second for Leicester City to storm into the lead. Cannon now on the edge of the penalty area. There was an option just behind. It's picked up by Yunus, and it's thundered in. A rocket into the back of the Birmingham net as Leicester City double their advantage. Yunus with his first goal for the club. There's a ball in behind towards Tom Cannon. Ruddy's come off his line, but Cannon is very far out wide as he lays it off towards Dennis Pratt, who makes it 3. Well, it was fantastic work from Tom Cannon to get away from John Ruddy and then keep things alive as he got his head up, found Dennis Pratt.
So to borrow a phrase from great Sven-Göran Eriksson, first half not so good, second half pretty good.
Yeah, it's fair to say that, you know, the substitutions that were made at half-time made a massive difference, and in particular, Ricardo Pereira just absolutely ran the show, didn't he, in the second half. And within 2 minutes, I think it was, you know, Jimmy Vardy finds himself on the score sheet with the old dynamic 1-2. You know, while Brighton, perfect cross to find Jimmy Vardy, and Vardy, he's not making that mistake from that sort of range. And then so in the end, it was pretty emphatic. But even the build-up play, which they struggled to get going in the first half, you know, it was just a lot more fluent all over the pitch in that second half. And you know, Yunus, there's 2 great strikes for me. You know, textbook header from Vardy, but these 2 goals here. And what Dennis Pratt does brilliantly, I think, is he uses a defender as, you know,
sort of blocks
a block.
The keeper, doesn't it?
Exactly. And he just places it superbly well. So 2 really good finishes there.
And how good is it to see Jamie Vardy not just back in the team, but fit and then getting straight back on the score sheet?
Yeah, I was speaking about on the programme last night in terms of how often you don't really see that as much anymore in terms of ball out your feet, cross it first time. It's normally wingers on opposite sides. A right foot is on the left, a left foot on the right. So they're coming inside to either combine or shoot themselves. And it's just touch out his feet, brilliant ball. And then good movement from Jamie Vardy. And it's not an easy header. You look at it and think, well, that's simple. But it's just the timing's perfect. And he's probably underrated in the air. He's not the tallest.
It's not the first thing you think of at all, is it?
No, but he's got a good leap on him, good timing, finds the corner really well. But you get the first goal and then it opens up. Say if Birmingham, with the chances they had, they'll be disappointed from their point of view that they didn't take the chances.
I think as well, you know, like Mark Albright, he's a right-footed right winger there. And so whereas normally Enzo plays 2 inverted wingers, so it's not natural for them to control the ball, have a look up and then deliver, say, well, they're weaker left or right foot. But you can't tell me, and Matt's right, it's like a dying art, what we're seeing there from Mark Albright, and I don't know why. Because that's just a thing of sheer beauty.
He didn't even look up. Like, as soon as he got the ball, he knew exactly where it was, wouldn't it? Just whip it on
He
top of the
knows
spot.
where Vardy is before
But also
the ball gets
Vardy on that knows what he wants as well. Like
Correct.
that first time, but well, not first time, but straight away, can I deliver it in that area? Vardy's on the move, bang, contact, beats the defender to the initial cross, and it's in the back of the net. As like Jerry said, maybe if it was the opposite wing on the other side, they maybe have a dribble or combine, and you lose that opportunity, and it's sort of a dying art, which it shouldn't be. If you can deliver, put into that area for your centre forward, then it's perfect. First time ball in, great finish, and then the floodgates opened and the game completely changed. It's good to see Yunus, obviously, the strike there, and Dennis Pratt amongst on the score sheet as well.
Well, I was going to ask, given how a couple of the games have gone in the last couple of months where Leicester have gone 1-0 up and haven't then got the second, haven't got the third and killed the game off, how important do you think that is to basically kill it off fairly soon after the going 1-0 up and not sitting back?
Yeah, absolutely, because obviously there would have been a lot of discussions at half-time, the substitutes were made, and as a manager, and obviously the coaching staff, the rest of the backroom staff, you know, I'm not saying there would have been Murray coming out at half-time, but they're not seeing what everyone's expecting to see when Leicester take to the pitch, especially here at King Power. And so for them to come out and start the second half in the way they did and get that early goal, and then obviously, like you say, go on and put the game to bed, vitally important, vitally important.
Good habit to get into, isn't it?
Absolutely, and in the games gone past, it's not like Leicester haven't created chances to go further ahead. They just haven't been able to take them for whatever reason, and so they've sort of, for want of a better phrase, sort of brushed it under the carpet with those 3 goals in the second half on Saturday.
I think you've got to also take into account the amount of changes.
Right.
Obviously, it's good to get academy players in. There's 5 was starting in the game, 7 overall, but a lot of changes. And then some of these haven't got that match fitness. Some are coming in for the odd game, then dropping out of the team.
Yeah.
So you don't really get that flow as if you're playing week in, week out. You get more of an understanding and you're sort of game ready. I'm not just saying that's a thing, but they may be finding it difficult in terms of the rhythm, getting into the game. And Birmingham were on the front foot. They hardly made any changes and made it difficult first half. And then Ricardo Pereira's a massive change. Just that control, that composure, the experience. But you can think of the changes. It's sort of, that's where you could see maybe didn't go the way Leicester wanted it first half and changed it in the second.
Doesn't matter, they're through.
Exactly, progressed, and that's
round
all you
5.
want. And it looked comfortable in the end.
That's all you can ask for, really, isn't it? Cup competitions, and they'll play in round 5. Bournemouth, who beat Swansea, who are the visitors tonight. It all comes full circle, doesn't it? Remember, because it's a midweek game, you can watch the game in full. These are exactly how you can do it if you wish to, wherever you are in the world. If you're in the UK, you can watch it live, stream it on Game Pass. Game by game, it's just £10. The broadcast is also available, of course, worldwide. See that little QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of that graphic? Scan that. That'll take you straight through. You'll be able to sign up and watch the game tonight. We'll be here all the way through until kick-off at 7:45 p.m. and post-match as well. So let's hear from the manager, shall we? Enzo Maresca, we caught up with him after that victory on Saturday over Birmingham.
And looking ahead to Swansea, what does this win here do in terms of confidence going ahead to that one?
No, it's always good to win, absolutely, but it will be a different game. We need to be ready and try to win on Tuesday. That is a very important game.
And with such a short turnaround, does that make things more difficult in terms of preparation for Swansea?
Yeah, for sure. It's Saturday now, we play Tuesday, we have just 72 hours, but it's what it is, so we need to adapt. It's a shame because we are the only one playing, the rest, the other teams, they have 1 week, but it's what it is.
And there's still a healthy gap at the top of the table, but how important is it to get back to winning ways in the league?
No, absolutely. It's the most important thing in this moment for us. It's Tuesday game and to win the game. And as I not always said, as I said 2-3 times, Tuesday it's a game that we need our fans. We need them absolutely behind the team, pushing, because Tuesday is big part of our season.
So that was Enzo Maresca after the game against Birmingham. I found it interesting that wherever he's talked to the press after that game, he's mentioned for tonight that the crowd is going to be very important. Yeah. He's not done that too often this season, has he? Why do you think this one in particular?
Potential banana skin, maybe. A lot of people are not expecting Swansea to come here and get anything. Didn't win against Ipswich. Good win on Saturday. Lost against Coventry just before that. So yeah, big game for all types of reasons, and obviously there's an opportunity to, make the gap up to 10 points tonight.
That's an
the way the other team's not playing.
Yeah, that's an important point to make, is that there aren't a full round of games in the Championship. So Ipswich and Southampton, the gap could go to double figures by this evening. Is that something that he will be thinking about, the players will be thinking about?
100%. Just that sort of breathing space. It's a great position to be in. If you can extend it to 10, you've got 3 games and a bonus one. And obviously games are sort of running out, and even the run Southampton have been on, they've been outstanding. They're still a long way behind Leicester. So it just, from the outside really, any doubt that might be creeping in and looking that they've gone 2 games without a victory, which is nothing.
Yeah.
It just puts that to bed. But I think the crowd will be important. Obviously, you've got to sort of get them on side and be on the front foot. But it'll be one of those where you expect Leicester to go and beat Swansea. Defensively, they're not great. They're shipping goals. They also like to play themselves at the same time. But you'd expect Leicester to go on, so you need the crowd because they can make it difficult. If they sit in and maybe go with 5 across the back and bodies behind the ball and make it awkward for Leicester, that's when you need the crowd with you on side and sort of push it and make it hard for Swansea, because they're a team that like to play themselves, but they sort of lack that physicality. And you can see if Leicester get on top of them, Swansea could fold as well. So I don't see really the discipline within the team, but you need to be from the off. So it's important on probably cold night as well to sort of get behind the team and sort of on that front foot and put the pressure on Swansea straight away.
I was going to say the gap point when you're in the opposite end of this. If you're an Ipswich player or you're a Southampton player and you're looking at the gap and it's 10, and it's 10 points to a team that has been relentless. What does that do to your mindset then for them going into like this weekend?
Well, you're always going, oh, not again. No, we have to go again.
Are you almost hoping that this is Leicester's blip?
Well, yeah.
And then if it's over
like the
tonight,
last 2 league games. Yeah, exactly. And you're back on the horse and away you go. You're back winning again. So, but as Matty says, as an Ipswich, a Southampton or Leeds, who are like obviously, then you're just constantly looking at it and going, oh, here we go again. And you're just having to find that little bit extra game on game. The pressure mounts. Game on game to try and close that gap. So that's why it's a vitally important game this evening. And I think what Enzo's saying, I don't know if there was a bit of boom. We came in just before the half-time whistle went on Saturday, but obviously it wasn't the best performance we've seen this season here. And obviously Enzo's trying to reiterate that, get behind the players straight from the off. And so you're in unison together. Hopefully the players will play well and the fans will sing well, and it'll all be, it'll all make for a good night, and hopefully we'll get the result with both ends of the pitch working together.
I mean, that's a point that Enzo has made, is that the run of form and getting 66 points already isn't normal. This isn't a normal championship season, and for all that it's 2 league games without a victory, it's not a bad position to be in. Like, there almost needs to be a little bit of calm and.
There is, but because it's been that good, the standards are so high, and people forget about that. It's not difficult. They made it look comfortable, but it's hard work grinding the games out week in, week out. And
it's a brutal division, isn't it?
Exactly. In Southampton, they're the ones sort of in the driving seat as the next team of an automatic. They've gone on a ridiculous run, and they're still not anywhere near. It's a nice, comfortable gap. It can extend even further. It's that expectancy. Same as how Man City would find it, where they go to games, say, for example, I don't know, Bournemouth go to Man City, they'd expect a Man City win. But sometimes, like Jerry said, it needs to be in unison, the players, the fans, and all together. And sometimes it can be hard to break down teams, and that's where the fans have got to get behind, and the players show it on the pitch as well, and join together in what can be frustrating games. But you see it when the goal goes in and the energy Leicester show from there, then the game gets stretched and then the goals start happening. But sometimes it's difficult to break certain teams down.
Yeah, I think, having got promoted from this league, I think the longer the season goes on and you're not losing, you're staying at the top, I would say if you can get through this, like over this mini blip, let's call it, we'll have 1 and 2 games.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And come out the other side of it, i.e. get the march, let's say, then things will start to ease up. You'll start going onto the pitch. If you're still up there and believing that it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to win the game. You get that feeling as a team of players, as individuals. I've had it.
Yeah.
And the other teams get crushed as well.
And the other teams,
so they almost buy into it as well.
They're just
It's
the
like
other
these guys
team,
are
the
unbeatable.
momentum's rolling, and you're thinking they've won again.
And Enzo will understand that if we can just keep it together for the next 4 or 5 games, then all of a sudden it
almost like looks after itself, and you just
absolutely
roll.
As long, obviously you've still got to go out and perform, but
of course
you sort of get into that situation where it doesn't matter what you do, you know that you're going to score, you're going to win this game.
What does that feel like as a player when you're in
Incredible.
Is that just like you're in a groove and
you're just in the groove? You're just hitting it off, bang, bang, game in, game out. Yes, there might be the odd draw. Somebody does something absolutely ridiculous, silly to concede a goal, but you still know, yeah, we're in the groove, you know, and they just have to cling on to that and run with it and just try and get through. So maybe that's part of, you know, his pre-match talk about the fans as well.
It's also a funny time as well, January. You've got the cup games mixed in there, you miss out fixtures, you've got transfer window happening, and then it sort of calms down after all the games around Christmas, and then the February and March, then you'll see gaps extending and sort of teams that can't stay with it drift away, and they'll be more looking at the playoffs as opposed to automatic promotion. But this is a sort of a funny stage in the season, but these nights are massive, because if you can obviously get that sorted, then it builds for, like Jerry said, later on in the season, then you'll see it open up a little bit more than what it is at the minute.
So that's something that he'll be reiterating for tonight?
100%.
Just like, this is a weird time of year.
This is a massive game, extends it, and it just, the other teams will be looking on tonight, hoping that Swansea can maybe nick a point, and if they see that come in, they'll think, oh, there's something there for us. Now, if Leicester, as we hope that they can do, go and get the 3 points, the other teams, Southampton, Leeds, whoever it is, will be like, oh, not again. And then they know that they've got to perform in their game where they need to catch up. And then when you're doing that, you find you drop points because you're chasing it that hard that one error,
no margin for error at all.
No margin for error, and then you start going against what you're doing, and then you get into a rut. But when you're at the top, you just want it to keep going. And so far, it's been fabulous, and people need to realise what this team has done so far, and just think, well, even if they haven't scored for 20 minutes, they're not doing bad. I think there's just an idea of that, but they've been so good up until this point, and to have a chance to extend it to 10 is just been brilliant so far.
Oh, tremendously impressive. Let's remind ourselves, shall we, of the previous fixture between these two sides. It was 3 months ago, and 3 Swansea managers ago. Didn't stop the Foxes coming away with all 3 points.
Deflected and it's in, and it was Vestergaard with the vital touch. Fatawu, can he get his shot away? You bet he can, as he fires it into the roof of the Swansea net. Early towards Iheanacho, who's onside and in behind for Leicester, as he makes it 3. And surely now it's the goal that gives Leicester City all 3 points in Wales.
So that was the previous meeting down at the Swansea.com stadium, and you can watch this evening's game. If you're in the UK, you can stream it live on Game Pass. You can watch the broadcast worldwide as well. No matter where you are, you can watch this evening's fixture. Scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I'll take you through, put your details. You can watch this evening's match on Fox's Hub live with us. We all heard from Enzo Maresca after the game at the weekend. Let's now hear from the man who set up that first goal. Mark Albrighton also talked to us at full time.
Just another tough test. I think no matter what team you come up against in this league, it's always going to be a hard game. We've seen that over the course of this season already. Every fixture that we've had we've been made to work for it. We've done really well so far. We've come out on top in the majority of them games. So hopefully we can take confidence from the game today and get the result there.
Does it become difficult that it's such a quick turnaround from this game to Swansea on Tuesday night?
No, I don't think so. I think we're used to it now. Obviously, we've done it a lot this season. A lot of us have done it previous in whether it be Europe, whether it had been in this league or. So yeah, I think we're used to that now. I think the Christmas period was obviously a real test for us. Yeah, we've got a few players missing at the minute, whether it's the African nations or injury. So yeah, obviously that takes its toll, but we've got a good enough squad, a strong enough squad to be able to deal with such a quick turnaround.
And of course there is still a healthy gap at the top of the table, but after 2 games in the league without a win, how important is it to try and get back to winning ways?
Yeah, I think we want to get back to winning ways. That goes without saying. I think obviously we the draw against Ipswich with the position that we got ourselves in was obviously disappointing. But if we put it into context, we're the team in the lead. I'm sure they're the team that would have wanted to come out on top. They're chasing us down. So we didn't lose the game, which was important. Yeah, obviously the position we got ourselves into during the game, it's difficult to take, to concede so late, but we didn't lose the game, which was the main thing, and we come out with a solid point.
And with so much experience, that was a very experienced post-match interview, wasn't it? People like him, how important are those kind of characters when you're in this period of the season?
Massive. The amount he brings to it, and when he's called upon, it's so difficult. We were talking about this yesterday in terms of his position. So he hasn't played, and then you go to the wing. I think it's a little bit easier if you're probably a centre back, where you can sort of fill in, or an experienced centre forward where you got players playing off you. But he's up and down the wing. Even at his age and coming into a game and delivering, and knows what it's all about. He's been a great servant for the club, and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And just from what he can bring to it in terms of saying about the whole squad, he probably knew he wasn't going to start tonight, but he's invaluable in terms of what he brings in, his experience, and how he goes about his business. When he's called upon, he always delivers, and he's still got that quality as well. So he's just brilliant, what you need, and everyone buys into it as well, because when they see the standards that he produces, and he's been there, done it, and then everyone else looks up to that, goes, that's where I need to be at, and he'll always be encouraging as well.
Had it easy then, Jerry, did you, in your career? You had it easy as a defender?
Did I have it easy?
Oh, apparently you had it easy.
No, just in terms of he's up and down on the wing.
Yeah.
Like
doing a lot of running.
Yeah, but literally constantly up and down,
Yeah.
and working that fullback, whether it be a 1-2 combination as opposed the other positions. You think when you get a little bit older, it's the experience. So it just shows credit to his athleticism and his fitness levels on top of that.
And his attitude to not playing every week. You know, because it's very easy for experienced pros who have won the Premier League to spit their dummy out, and they can be forgiven for that because they're not playing. But not him. He never whinges, never moans. Really nice kid off the pitch as well. And obviously he wants to play football, but all he can do is keep putting himself in the shot window, or in Enzo's shot window, and he does that. He does that. I know he played in the last round of the Cup, and he contributed massively as well against Millwall, I think it was. And obviously again on Saturday. So he's always asking questions of the manager. I'm ready, you know, I'm here. And okay, you might have some younger lads who've, you know, got a bit of pace in this, but I'm ready to go, boss.
And having someone like that, who, even if it just brings him on for 15 minutes at the end of games, where if, for example, Matty, as you were saying, if this game is tight and Swansea sit in, to be able to turn to him for 15 minutes and just say, go at him, run at him, whip these crosses in, that's the kind of player that every squad, I imagine, needs when you're going for these kind of prizes.
100%. When he's doing that, or delivering balls into the box, or that bit of experience, if Leicester are in a position and it's tight, knowing how to wind down the clock and just use this experience in the right way. But as Jerry said, his attitude's unquestioned, always gives his all, and yeah, he's just one of them players you want. Especially, I think he's important in the dressing room. You appreciate him even more. Obviously, the fans know what he's about, and he's done it all for the club. But I think playing alongside him and what he offers, I think he's, like I say, invaluable.
Yeah, he's a great role model, isn't he, for the likes of...
For the young players?
Yeah, for, you know, Mavadidi, Fatawu, Casey McAteer, who starts tonight. He's got to be a great role model for them young lads.
They can watch him and just copy his habits.
You'd be mad not to.
Yeah.
And you'd be mad not to watch what he does on a normal training day. You know, how he goes about keeping himself fit, getting ready for training, what he does after training. Does he go in the pool? Does he go and get a stretch, a massage? All these types of things just keep you thinking as a young player.
Talking of great role models, should we go outside to half of our commentary team this evening? Matt Elliott is out on the gantry. He'll be on commentary for us tonight. Matt, I'm sure you've been listening to what the boys have been saying about Mark Albrighton, and I'm sure you echo all of those thoughts. What a great character to have around the team.
Yeah, I was also listening to Gerald's cackling laughter when you gave me that very kind.
I was trying to talk you up, Matt, and I don't know. I'm not sure I got the reaction I was expecting from the sofa.
Yeah, the kind, honest appraisal of my character and personality. Gerald seems to find it humorous. Quite why
you would push back on that, would you, Matt?
Well, I'll be having words with him later, put it that way, off air, and he'll probably win that argument, I imagine. But anyway, sorry, what was your initial question?
The initial question was about Mark Albrighton. He obviously outstanding at the weekend, but that sort of character and that sort of personality and experience, how crucial that is to a squad when you are going for the prizes that Leicester are going for this season.
Yeah, it's a huge component of things, isn't it? I mean, there's so many things that come into the mix, but you know, whilst you're talking or thinking along those lines, straight away I'm thinking there are numerous individuals in that squad who bring similar. You know, Jamie Vardy, Cody, Harry Winks to a degree, amongst others as well. But yeah, Mark Albrighton in particular, you know, he's such a solid sort of character, is he? Down to earth. Jamie Vardy's a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more out there, shall we say, but in it himself a wonderful role model of what can be achieved. Mark Albrighton, you know, does everything exactly how a manager and coach would want them to, wouldn't he, as best as possible, and you know, still a valuable contributor on the pitch, never mind off the pitch, but he has value in both capacities, doesn't he? But yeah, listen, I can't really add to anything more that's been said about Mark Albrighton already, but you know, possesses so many attributes, doesn't he? You know, quality, delivery, reliability, attitude, etc. And like you say, for the people like McAteer and Fatawu, amongst others, yeah, what a player to have in front. And I'm sure Maresca appreciates his value as well.
Absolutely. Any surprises from the team this evening, Matt? With Patson Daka was the other one that we mentioned at the top of the show, coming in up top.
Yeah, the two that made me sort of, I don't know, sit up and take notice really. A slight element of surprise. I think Patson Daka coming straight back in after having been away, and for me, Tom Cannon's looked pretty decent. I think, you know, he's done not far off as much as he could do, really. I think, all things considered, he's been positive, direct. He's got his share of goals and contributed with his all-round play. He'll be mildly disappointed, although I'm sure Maresca will give his reasons, and there's an understanding throughout the group that things will be mixed up. But keeps people on his toes, doesn't it? For Daka to come in, what an endorsement for him. A boost. You must be thinking, well, yeah, the manager's having me, after all, when there were doubts about that earlier in the season. To get the slot tonight ahead of Cannon and Jamie Vardy, lest we forget. So, he scored at the weekend. So, he's keeping them guessing, isn't he? And that should breed good performances throughout. And the other one that we spoke about, we addressed it on Saturday. I think I said at the end of the game, I think for me, that second attacking midfield slot, the two eights, Dewsbury Hall and A.N. Other, normally Wilfred and Didi. There's a few choices, it could be Ricardo, it could be Eunice, it could be Pratt. For me, Pratt was the least likely, I think, to start, although I think he's got a big part to play for the rest of the season, but he gets the nod tonight ahead of Eunice. Both scored at the weekend, both hopefully full of confidence, but I think he's coming round to the way of thinking, isn't he, Maresca, with Dennis Pratt, and certainly, see something in there. I know he spoke quite glowingly about him in terms of being the ideal foil for Dewsbury Hall. Tonight he's got a chance to show that.
What are you expecting from Swansea this evening? Matt was talking about this might be a game where they try and sit in. They're under new management, obviously trying to instill a new style of play. Are you expecting this to be another night of staying patient for Leicester?
But the honest truth is, I'm not entirely sure. I think you can second guess. We were talking with Ewan Roberts last night. He was actually sat 2 rows in front of me. I didn't realise he was here tonight, Ewan. But I've been star spotting, and that's all best I could come up with. But Ewan was saying last night, he knows Welsh football better than most, and he was saying that manager Luke Williams is trying to play a really adventurous style of football, and doesn't really like to concede anything against teams, and has belief in how he wants his players to play. And from what you were saying there and what you pick up on vibes, I know what Matt is saying, and they'd probably be well advised to do that, to try and tailor their approach a little bit to try and reduce Leicester's effectiveness. But I mean, if you're going to go toe to toe with Leicester, you've got to be a damn good outfit, and you've got to play exceptionally well. Whether Swansea have that capability or not is yet to be seen. So, but I have a feeling that Williams will, back himself, and it seems sort of more of a common trend these days, isn't it? Where managers say, "This is how we play, like it or not. This is how we're going to continue, and we're just going to get better at it if it doesn't work initially, and maybe adjust it along the way." As such, like Maresca has, although it's been hit the ground running from the off, haven't they? Pretty much. But it's difficult to do when you're in a precarious position, which Swansea are. But yeah, I think it could make for an entertaining game, but it might well backfire on them in the long run.
Let's hope so. Stay warm, Matt. We'll speak to you very soon. Say hello to you and for us, and if you find any more stars, send them our way.
Will do, mate. Will do. Jerry, we'll talk later.
I'll leave that to you two to sort out. Thank you very much, Matt. Let's remind ourselves of the team news, shall we, as we close in on kickoff. Let's start with the home side, Leicester City. As we've been saying, there were lots of changes at the weekend for the FA Cup win. There were 10 of them from the game against Ipswich last Monday. 9 of those players drop out, though, for tonight. So this is the side that Leicester, that Enzo Maresca has picked, with Mads Hermansen in goals, Ricardo and Doyle the full-backs, with Vass and Vestergaard at central defence. Harry Winks anchors the midfield. He got a complete rest at the weekend, as did Kieran Dewsbury Hall. He returns alongside Dennis Pratt, who scored the third at the weekend. He comes into midfield. McAteer and Mavididi will play out wide, and Patson Daka, after Zambia were knocked out of the Africa Cup of Nations, he comes in and he'll lead the line with Jamie Vardy on the bench. The rest of the substitutes: Jakub Stolarczyk, Conor Cody, Jamie Vardy, Mark Albrighton, Hamza Chowdhury, Tom Cannon, Yunus Akgun, Ben Nelson and Arjun Raiki, who made his debut at the weekend. The visitors, Swansea City, as we were saying, have a few injury issues and are under new management with Luke Williams. They also made lots of changes at the weekend. They made 5 as they were beaten 5-0 at Premier League Bournemouth in the FA Cup. That was last Thursday, so they've had a couple of days extra rest. But they're back to the side that lost to Southampton the weekend before. Only one change from that 11. Jamal Lowe is injured, so Jerry Yates comes in. So Rushworth will be in goal. The back 3 of Darling, Wood and Humphreys. Harrison Ashby and Josh Tymon, the full-backs. Fulton and Grimes in the middle of midfield. Patterson and Cullen will support Yates through the middle. On the bench, Fisher, Pedersen, Cabango, Allen, Patino, Bukanovic, Norton, Cooper and Ronald, who's their brand new signing, signed yesterday from Grêmio in Brazil. He'd make his debut should he come on this evening. And remember, you can watch this if you're in the UK, because it's midweek, so Tuesday night. You can watch this in the UK or anywhere you like in the world, wherever you are. You can join us for the game and stream it live. Kickoff is at 7:45 p.m. You can get your Game Pass for just £10 on Fox's Hub. Scan that QR code at the bottom of the screen. That'll take you through and tell you everything that you need to know. Jerry, Matty, as we were saying, that Swansea had a couple of days extra rest. They played on Thursday evening in the FA Cup, as Leicester played on Saturday. Will that have any effect, you think?
Considering that Enzo made so many changes for the weekend, and as we were saying, obviously, Doyle came off at half time, so he shouldn't be affected too much by that. And the rest of the back 4/5 has had a rest. Harry Winks had a rest. So you'd like to think not. Obviously, Patson Daka coming back from a long journey may have a bit of an effect. It may not. But no, I don't think there should be any excuses, even though they play Thursday less, because of the changes Enzo made. There should be, hopefully, should be seamless. I
don't think Patson Daka's flying economy. He's not.
No,
he's not with his knees around his shoulders.
When I turn the clock back,
a little bit different nowadays, international travel. Right, let's hear from the Leicester side. On arrival, Mads Hermansen caught up with us.
Perfect. So after winning the FA Cup on Saturday, how important is it to get back to winning ways again in the league here this evening?
It's always important for us to win all the games we can. We need to put a winning streak on again. a little bit of mix of results the last few games, but yeah, we go into every game to win it, so we'll do that. Try to do that again today.
And for you personally, you were rested on Saturday. Is there an extra buzz this evening now that you're back in the starting 11?
Yeah, I love to play and I want to play all the games. Sometimes the manager decides otherwise, but yeah, I would love to play every game. So I'm of course happy to be back again today.
And Swansea is a team that we have played already this season, winning 3-1. Is there anything specific you're expecting from them this evening?
Yeah, we expect it's a different side from last time with a new manager and a new way of doing things. Of course, we analysed and we tried to find the best solutions for us to win the game.
And finally, it's a quick turnaround from Saturday. Does that impact things in terms of preparation for this evening?
We've done it a lot of times this season, and we know how to handle to play. So close to with the game so close, so we know what to do and how to handle it. So we'll go out there with full energy.
It's interesting. Mads there mentioned basically the same as Mark O'Brighton did at the weekend. Doesn't really matter. They're used to this, playing every 3 days. It's no worries.
Yeah, sort of like programmed in, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, they are used to it, aren't they? Games come thick and fast in this division. But as we touched on before, I think it's more fearful for Swansea. The amount of goals they've conceded. They came off a hammering against Bournemouth.
Luke Williams apologised for the way that they played.
Well, I think
they
they've
set
just
up
been.
wrong.
He was very open with the way he played in terms of Notts County. They were all attack-minded, and if they go toe-to-toe against Leicester and the space opens up, we saw what happened at Swansea. Leicester just took them to a part, and then it was a case in the end which decision to pick, which pass at the end. If they're going to go like that tonight, then I could see it being a crazy score and Swansea could really fold, but you'd think there'd be a bit more discipline. He might say after that thumping, actually we'll make it a bit more harder. We'll play when we get the chance, but let's make it as difficult as possible. And whether they can hold that discipline for the course of the game will be seen. But I think he can't be as open. He'd be a little bit naive. But if he does, then I think it goes in Leicester's favour.
It was interesting listening to him after that game. He made the point that as much as Bournemouth are a very, very good Premier League team, he was expecting nothing different. That he seems to think that Leicester are on that level as well. He's expecting the same kind of team that they're going to go up against.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could make comparisons, and time will only tell when we get to play Bournemouth in the FA Cup. But yeah, I think for a new manager coming in, it sounded to me the way he set up against Bournemouth that he was unsure of what to expect, and then it's quickly dawned on him that, hold on,
they're quite good.
Yeah, and maybe I've got a few things wrong here as a manager. So it's how quickly he tries to change it, and whether or not, if he is going to change a few things, whether or not they work as well. You know, so it's all right saying, okay, well, we're going to go out and play like this, and all the players are, you know, singing from the same hymn sheet, and then you come back and we got beat 5-0. And then he tries to change it again, and then the players start looking around and going, does this guy know what he's doing? You know, so time, again, will only tell when we get out there. But Matt's right, you would expect they will try and start the game and be harder to beat from the start of the game. I think, you know, they've conceded double the amount of goals Leicester have conceded in the league, which is not pretty right. I think they're in the bottom 5 for conceding goals. So they have to try and stop that ASAP, and obviously going to Bournemouth didn't help. Going to Southampton beat them, was it 5?
3-1.
No, 3.
3-1.
No, somebody else beat them 5, was it? A couple of weeks ago as well.
But that doesn't help, does it?
It doesn't help.
And he has had some ideal fixtures, hasn't
No,
he?
it's
not the
Southampton,
easiest
Bournemouth,
start,
and Leicester.
So yeah, he's got some work to do, Luke Williams. And whether or not it works tonight, you know, if Leicester are on the game, you can't see any team in the league stopping them from scoring. That's the key element to it. It's all about Leicester making sure they're on top of their game.
Well, we shall see. Both seem very confident. We're closing in on kickoff very shortly indeed. Remember, if you do want to watch this evening's game wherever you are in the world, including in the United Kingdom, you can do so this evening. Get your match pass, just £10. There's QR codes all over the show that will take you through to Fox's Hub. You'll be able to watch the game in full. We'll be back at half-time and at full-time to take you through all of the analysis as well. But for now, as we do close in on kickoff, that's all we've got time for. We'll hand you over to your commentary team for this evening. Tyler Morris and Matt Elliott will take you through the first half.
If you are watching on lcfc.com, just sit back and relax. If you are watching on social media, the live stream will finish shortly. If you want to continue enjoying our coverage, you'll need to head over to lcfc.com/Foxes Hub and purchase one of our game passes. If you are watching in a territory where the game isn't live on TV, you'll be able to watch a live video stream on Foxes Hub. Please visit lcfc.com/territories to check. If you can't find your location, live audio commentary is still available. You'll need to have an lcfc.com account before you purchase your Game Pass. If you already have one, please sign in and select your product at lcfc.com/Foxes Hub. Select the Buy button and you'll be taken to the payment page. Once you've followed the simple payment steps, press Continue at the bottom of the screen and you'll be taken to the Foxes Hub homepage. If you purchased a video pass, please select Watch Live from the Foxes Hub drop-down menu. If you purchased a Listen Live pass, please select Listen Live. If you purchased a seasonal or monthly video pass and the game is not being shown in your territory, please select Listen Live. If you are having a payment or technical issue, please email Leicester TV Support at streamamg.com. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the match.